And Den.Social. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Dragonchain, 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 Dragonchain. Mine 10 blocks on the blockchain. My ETH father for the got paid. These regulars selling like they hotcakes. We go to the moon like we don't got breaks. If you want to transact on a marketplace, Dragonchain, Dragonchain, Dragonchain. Dragonchain, 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 Dragonchain. Mine 10 blocks on the blockchain. My ETH father for the got paid. These regulars selling like they hotcakes. We going to the moon like we don't got breaks. If you want to transact on a marketplace, Dragonchain, Dragonchain, Dragonchain. My ETH costs more than your rent. I spend my life savings, get a 10. Dragons get the hottest coming next. Me and Joe Rose make a bet. All this shit seem new to me. Fix the blockchain with security. Keeping data safe is the fluency. How could you not fuck with the company?
All right, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This is the Dragonchain Updates show, and this is episode 0x161. It is the 354th episode weekly, and it's pronounced this is 1/61, episode 1/61. Again, 354 weekly episodes, over 6 years weekly AMA. Reminder, nothing on the show is financial advice. Stay tuned after the updates for that AMA. And get your questions in now before I refresh the thread, and you can get your question in, or comment, or insult, or whatever you want. And let's see here. First up, we have Dragonchain updates. Last week's distribution from this show for Dragonchain Lair lot was 702 lot. There was one question for 351 lot. Host received 175, and Dragonchain 176 lot. In the actual updates, patent portfolio tokenization update, we're working on stuff behind the scenes to get some of the integrations going with partners, and those are there's several of them in process. So hopefully we'll have something soon on that, and I'll be able to focus time on all the rest of the documentation and getting everything out. I think we've come to some level of it's starting to gel. There are a lot of variables possible for things like the incubator, and things like the ways that we're going to handle for example, the ability for verification nodes, if they so choose, to do interchain activities and get extra rewards in some capacity, because as you can imagine, those nodes not only will have to pay for hosting, and we think we've reduced quite a bit that resource utilization for the verification nodes now, greatly reduced. So hopefully it will be really cheap and simple to run, even on your own hardware in your house or business, if you like, instead of just putting it somewhere in the cloud. But those nodes that are running interchain verifications as well will also need to pay for the infrastructure to run whatever chain they are going to post to, and also the fees on that chain. So, running something on Base or Solana or Kronos would be considerably cheaper, and we would like to see that, right? So that it's not just up to Dragonchain or some special partner to do that extra work, but with that, we have to decide how exactly they are rewarded in a fair way. Is it based upon the current fees, or how much in fees that chain has spent, or is it something related strictly to the actual network power or hash power of that chain, or is it something else entirely different? Because it could be things. I mean, theoretically, with this capability, these nodes would be able to even post their hashes, their verification proofs to, or I should say, to be technically precise, their aggregated verification proofs one way or another. They could post it to a newspaper. They could post it to Craigslist. They could post it several other places that could be considered interchain. And, there's some of those will be a little weak. I mean, the newspaper would be a little more old world standard and understood. But, posting it to a website, I mean, anybody could manipulate that. But at the same time, maybe not. And maybe there's a purpose. And it's kind of hard to say. For one, I am considering, for example, that say Dracaria would probably run an interchain verification node and post to its own chain, thus getting further entropy from outside than it would other have for what it needs, right? So a bunch of things like that, and a bunch of really unique, cool ways to use that tech. And so, that's what I've been concentrating on this past week, other than a couple of products, trying to get Eternal back out and trying to get a couple of new products integrated with, some new customers. So things are moving forward for one, for the good, and people should know that. But there's still a lot of work to do, and don't have a date or anything else. But be ready for it, and we'll keep you up to date. At the end, to make sure you're following Dragonchain and everything. Okay. Next up, we are going to Den.Social, and there was a DinDAO meeting yesterday. I apologize, I missed it. There was no way I could have made any meetings yesterday. There was too much going on, too much work to be done. But hopefully it went well, and I'll talk to William later, and we'll see if there were there were no added comments, so we can assume that it went well. Oh, am I not logged in? Yeah, I'm not logged in. Awesome. So we'll see what that means. I can't vote on any of the things coming up here because I didn't log in time. I switched a bunch of stuff on this box. So, okay, next, let's see here. So, and by the way, Den, I should say, Den, we do want to, I have several ideas, and I'm just kind of waiting to get a couple of things otherwise out of the way. But, and you guys can, give me feedback on this in the chat or something. But I'm thinking that we consider to fork off various parts or capabilities of Den. For example, one that I know would be very useful to a lot of different people out there, and which we could bring in revenue for, even for the Den itself, DinDAO, that would be general governance. So if we improved several of the governance features to make them potentially ramp up to the level of what DinDAO has, except customized to your organization's activities, and the behaviors that you want to reward. I think that could be very sellable, and we should probably just create a white label version of Den that would be solely for individual communities. It could be everything from corporations, small companies, little clubs, homeowners associations. Oh boy, do we want to get into that business? I don't know. But one way or another, we could probably sell that to a lot of people, and that would be helpful. And there are others. I mean, there are other purposes that we can use Den for, and we know this. We have the prediction market aspect, the ability to curate content. This could be built into a very powerful customer-facing chat portal. Although I don't know how, if that niche would pay enough, right? I mean, there's so many things out there that have been out for so long, it might not be worth messing with on that. But there's a lot there. So we need to think about it and give feedback if you can. It's all worthwhile. Next, we go to World Blockchain Roundtable updates. So in case you missed it, last week's episode is Crypto or Blockchain Dead? Is it? I don't know. Go watch, share it. The more views it gets the first week, the more all the participants will get. I was unavailable for the show, so I didn't even get to watch it. And that's, shame on me, but I didn't have time all week to watch it because I was trying to get other stuff done. So apologize for that to everyone. I'm looking at the chat real quick. I will get to all the questions in the chat too, but put it into the AMA if you can. Then this week, episode 260, and it is the future of DAOs. So I'm going to update my because my notes are not updated on that. Whoops. There we go. Future DAOs. Okay. Make sure before it airs, get in there and leave a question. Let's see if there are any good questions in here so far. Of course, William is freaking getting all the questions in. He's gonna end up owning all of the roundtable. And importantly, this episode 260 is the 5-year anniversary of, and let's see here, I think it was up here, happy anniversary. Yes, 5 years, episode 260, 5 years of weekly episodes for the first ever, and of course, longest running DAO podcast, and not DAO subject podcast, but actual DAO podcast. So it's a DAO which is completely governed by its members and its participants, which the recorded participants are only the people who come on the panel. And by the way, if you ever have something to bring up, even if you don't want to show your face, you can be on the panel yourself. There's plenty of room for it. And the entire panel is very friendly. It's gotten to a very stable form. We almost have the same people on every week, which is awesome. But definitely open if you have somebody or somebody who wants to be on there to either ask stuff or to present something that they are doing. It is welcome. So bring us to that. And also, you don't get rewarded if you only watch. So you only get rewarded if you get a question or comment or position or answer even in on the show. And the way you do that is, basically make the post and hopefully it'll get voted up so it gets answered early enough that it doesn't get missed. We don't usually miss them all. It's a 2-hour show, so we usually get through all the questions anymore. I don't think it's been a long time since we've not been able to get to all the questions. So get a question in, get some good stuff. Again, I will be there today because it is the anniversary show. And even though I have so much to do, I'm gonna have to work later, but that's all right. So get in there and ask a question. It's all good. And let's see here. Next up, we go to Meme Asylum updates. So again, this is a very important but very interesting. I wonder if that shows up there. It does. Okay, good. Very interesting experimental system, and there's a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes to get this to the next level, where currently we are in the voting phase, and I have voted, let's see, what did I vote for? I voted for Goislop because I thought it was funny. But Scapegoat is in the massive lead, 420. Well, I guess it's a pretty close 1 and 2 with Fumble and Scapegoat, and Spud is like way away, and so is Goislop. So pretty much it's going to be, at least right now, between Scapegoat and Professional Fumbler. I'm going to tell you something. Last cycle, I got so busy I didn't mint. And so I'm dropped way down. I was up there with the whales playing the game, and I'm totally out now. So I mean, I'm in, right? But I've dropped so far behind. It's very sad. It was very sad. I was not happy when that happened. But anyway, make sure you get in there and vote before it is too late. and be ready to mint, and don't screw up like I did and let an entire 2 weeks go by without minting. I don't know how I could have done. I should have done it on the weekend, right? I never had a chance. Anyway, it's all good. Make sure you're following Meme Asylum Experiment. That's Meme Asylum X on X for all updates and everything going on. There are a couple of games that are essentially done. The gameplay itself with the character cards, the NFTs that are all going to be built out with Entropy through Dracaria. So really good partnerships, Dragonchain, Meme Asylum, Dracaria, within our, eating our own dog food and all that stuff. And it's very good because that's going to drive a whole bunch more activity and make the therapy cycles more fun, and also give you an opportunity to get ahead with, you can probably win some ECT or, some meme coins or things like that. So it'll be great fun. Okay, so next up, we go to Dracaria, and it is now Air Age 3. And what is today? Today is Thursday, so the spawn cycle has started already. Oh boy, what is wrong with my... Well, let me see. I have something wrong with my... Maybe with this. Again, I moved some stuff on this machine. So we had some good spawns. We have some good hatches. We have some really interesting hatches come about in the past couple of weeks. Amazing, very beautiful dragons. Let's go try again. See if I can reload that spawn. There it is. Yeah, just something wrong. All right, there were only 100 eggs this season, right? Or wait, next season. Sorry, there were. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. There are. Okay, something's not loading here. Okay, eggs remaining 128. There are only 148 eggs available this season. So anyway, get in there, spawn some eggs, spawn some keys. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. We're going, whoops, I didn't mean to go to my collection. I meant to go to community. There are a whole bunch of things going on. Achievements should be soon. We haven't had time to get together and finish the testing on that. And the withdraw stuff should be soon. It was tested entirely in the development environment, but we need to test it further and make sure it really works across the board, and then that'll be up too soon. So apologize for everybody else waiting on that. If you have any emergencies, reach out to us, but all of that is on its way. And let's see here. Make sure you are following Dracaria World on X. That's the main place to post. There is also an account on Instagram. I don't know if we're going to be pushing it yet, but maybe soon. And we're hoping we have other characters and other things coming out. I mean, we definitely will have the Meme Asylum stuff coming out soon. So look forward to that. And if you go in the nav, you can find the merch and go buy some Dracaria World merch. Some pretty good stuff with the Viki Moose and everything else. Then let's see here. Now, oh, and I should say on Dracaria, there will be some new riddles. Jason did tell me, and so you can win some new gateway keys coming up. Maybe, I think tomorrow. I think tomorrow is the first of it. And there's a bunch of really cool stuff going on in, Dragon cultural world right now as well, with some of the Game of Thrones series, new seasons coming out. So good stuff there. All right. So now we're going to go to the AMA. And again, this is 161. And I'm going to refresh now. So hopefully you got your question in, and I will scroll down after the refresh. And so first off, IM4AM asks, do you see Eternal having revenue generation? If so, how? Yes, that's a great question, by the way. That the whole point of it is there will be a free section, and there will be with that free section, there will be limits. And I don't know the exact price points. I can't remember what has been settled on, and it's not final, but there will be a cheap option, a middle tier option, and a very premium option. And they will essentially all come with extra features. And some of the extra features to consider specifically, and the reason that we have to monetize it, frankly, one of them is Twitter, where we're going to have to pay for Twitter, and the first level is pretty cheap, but when it grows, it's going to get expensive fast. And so premium tier accounts will be able to have priority access on Twitter, and maybe the free tier won't have any access on Twitter. Then the other thing is on, like, say, the website crawling and archival. I'm trying to remember some of the other terminology that is on there, but essentially the ability to not only crawl a website, but also to screenshot it and to get the metadata and to do all of what you would say would be evidentiary capture, where I need to capture a website to prove that someone said something, or that that this company has posted false info, or who knows what, for potential legal reasons, that you will need one of the premium accounts to be able to access those various modes. And there will be very different profiles for how you capture a website. The other side will be messaging, in terms of being able to sign and post a message with Eternal, and potentially even with your own themed white label space, so that a project could essentially do very secure communications and announcing that something happened without the ability for nefarious action by bad guys around the world that might try to impersonate that company or that leader or something else. That this would be a very clear way. And then there's also the anti-censorship side, which will be a part of it as well, which one part is the archival, so that it can't be censored that something was really said, but the other side is the how do I say this, the ability to potentially communicate with someone in a way that is safe, and that you can know that the keys aren't compromised and things like that. So those are the ways that we would generate revenue. Those are the features I think would be valuable in the world for people to have, especially in the world that's coming. So I think we can make money that way. I think it'll be good. We will be able to pay in dollars or crypto, and I assume dragons will be available, for example, as well. There might be some other special options as well for. I can't promise because it's more work, but for people with time and things like that, that would be ideal. I can't promise it because we're just trying to get it out, and I do hope that a lot of you will subscribe to it, because it will help keep it running. And before we ran that thing for what is it, over 7 years, with zero revenue coming from it, right? Which totally just paid for by Dragonchain, and then later me personally. So this will be a helpful thing if we can all be subscribers and use it and get it spread. And I know it'll spread because nothing else is like it. It's still, and nothing was like it before. People who are sharing screenshots should be using this, because they'll have proof. When it comes out, we will give examples. For example, the Department of Homeland Security Twitter account, for example. Everybody saw what it was, and yet they now deny that that's the truth. They try to say that it was photoshopped screenshots, right? So you need a way to prove something. This is it. So that's how it will generate revenue. So excellent question. I can't vote because I'm not logged in. I'm not going to log in on the live here, but okay, next. Before I am again. Yes, there was a Den.DAO meeting. Very brief, little to update at this time. Awesome. And I don't know. I think we should probably put in something. And I will talk to William about this first, and we'll maybe plan out, hey, how do we roll this out? And if anybody has any feedback on what I talked about earlier with Den, weigh in now, or forever hold your peace. Not joking. You could, it's a DAO, so you don't have to forever hold your peace, but you should weigh in now because it'll help us. All right. It'll help the whole thing. Okay. So thank you, William, for doing that. Apologies. I wasn't there. I was totally, you wouldn't wanted to see me yesterday anyway. Okay. Free press. If I wanted to store data on a specific chain like Filecoin on an L5, how can I do that if I'm running a Filecoin L5 and if I'm not running a Filecoin L5? Okay. So this varies based upon the chain. And oftentimes the community. You're talking Filecoin. It's been a long time. The biggest thing I remember about Filecoin, for example, is its ICO raised 100 something million, right? It was near the time of Dragonchain. I predated Dragonchain, I believe. But if Filecoin, and I think it is, I'm pretty sure it is a permissionless network. That is, anybody could run a node and anybody could put stuff on it as long as you use the tokens, I assume, right? As long as you pay the fees or whatever is required, then it'll work. And so if you were running your own Filecoin node, and let's separate that from the L5. And by the way, some of the lingo, some of the nomenclature is going to change with the new with the new network integration. So we've taken the protocol and we've rethought from top to bottom the whole thing on how the verifications happen, how they're distributed, how they are decentralized, how the proof gets out, and how the verification nodes run and everything else. So this is the last question here before we go to the chat. So get questions in the chat if you have any. But if, let's say, you have a Filecoin chain, a Filecoin node on their network running that you own, right? You would then run an interchain verification node on Dragonchain's network, and you would need to, and we will have either templates, SDKs, sample code, potentially even AI or something to help you, but you would integrate the call into the interchain Dragonchain verification node, which would post a transaction on Filecoin, right? And typically, EVM based chains will almost all be the same code, just pointing to different networks. Some of the non-EVM chains will have their own special code, RPC or some other API that you hit, and we'll just need to code that in on that verification node, configure it, and then run it, and you would post, right? And so you post directly. If you don't have a Filecoin node running on your own, then, and I don't know anything about the community on Filecoin, some chains have freely available RPC access to multiple nodes. So some group will set up a verification or node on some network, for example, and they will allow anyone to connect to it. Oftentimes they don't. Like, say, it's hard to find oftentimes without paying. Sometimes you have to pay a third-party service to be able to post those, and then they limit the number of transactions. So essentially, if you were to do that and say, okay, you get a $5 or $10 account on some third-party platform that runs an Ethereum node, and some of them run multiple. They'll run, Ethereum, they'll run Base, they'll run Kronos, they'll run Solana, they'll run all of these others, and you can hit any of those chains with one API. So you have one integration. And if you do that, then all you have to do is fund the wallets for each of those chains. And, and some, I don't know the current pricing. We we have a couple of partnerships, and we have a couple of places where we might even be using some of the free Ethereum nodes. I don't remember, but that when you you could theoretically say, hey, for $5 a month or $10 a month, I'm getting this many calls, and then you could split it up and say, okay, so in a month, 30 days, 24 hours a day, I could know how often I can post to each of those chains. And I can also break it down on my own based upon how the fees look. If the Ethereum fees are 10 times more expensive than the Solana fees, for example, which I have no idea right now, then maybe you run the Solana calls 10 times more often. And it's up to you. And like I discussed earlier, some of what we have to figure out and what will probably drive your decisions there are how to split up the rewards for those interchain, and how to separate those from the regular verification nodes, because regular verification nodes will need to get a lot of, we'll need to get some of the rewards, and the interchain verification nodes will have to get some of the rewards. And so how do you balance that, right? That's a big question. And I don't have it fully answered yet. I have a lot of ideas around it. I just have to run some numbers and talk to as many people as I can. So if you have opinions on that, or especially if you have ideas on fair ways to split that up in which we want to drive, the verification nodes to optimize our proof decentralization, right? That's what we want to do. What we've done before is throw everything on Bitcoin, throw everything on Ethereum, and then wherever else it might make sense to put it. But if we said, let's, we want to optimize the best decentralization, which, Bitcoin's going to be heavy there for the, foreseeable future. And so is Ethereum, right? But a lot of big network, Base is huge. Solana is huge. And a lot of these, the smaller networks are growing really well as well. So really well as well, man. Anyway, really cool stuff. Hopefully I answered your question, but also think about ways to, it's very obvious with a blockchain, especially a strong blockchain, that's a good way to decentralize that proof. So that proof is an aggregate of a whole, thousands of other proofs. And that proof is, let's say, on Bitcoin, right? And we can then take the transaction that I need to prove to some, to a customer or a judge or, somebody, and I can take it and prove through the chain that I really put it here at this time, that, it hasn't been modified, all of the things you get with blockchain. But I have the ability, because it's hybrid, to separate that from any public exposure, unless I want to expose it to the public, like with Eternal. And so if you look at it that way, there are probably other places that you could post data. And I mentioned websites, I mentioned newspapers. Some of those, I think I probably would call it esoteric. I mean, it's kind of a weird thought, but some of those could make it very powerful, especially when we're talking about anti-censorship. That, okay, is it possible that, let's say that for some reason nobody was able to post this transaction to Bitcoin because, let's say Bitcoin is down, or let's say Bitcoin's transaction fees are $1,000 a shot, so nobody's been willing to do that, right? When that happens, to be able to even point to, and you think about it, if you're showing it to a non-technical person, I could say, hey, there's $3 billion worth of proof value on this transaction to prove that, let's say a $10,000 contract, it was in this state at this time. And yet, if the judge doesn't understand how that works, you can also show them much like what we have with the notary, that an accounting firm signed it in kind of a notary capacity, or that it was posted in a particular newspaper, right? That could make it interesting, because it would be a printed proof of that data, right? So I don't know. There are a bunch of things there to consider, and so essentially, I guess the generic answer, not specific on Filecoin, is there will be a shell that is that interchain verification node within which you will be able to configure anything to run. So any integration you can do. We haven't decided if it will be in a smart contract or not. It theoretically could be, but I don't know if we want to move the smart contract logic from what was the L1 to prime up into a verification node, though. I don't know if we want to do that or not. It might make sense if a verification node could run a smart contract on its own. That could be an interesting aspect. So I could be convinced that we should do that. So we'll consider it. But I want to make it, if you had some way to post this to, official, somehow in the thread of official weather data, or post it on a well-founded public website. It could be about, it could be you might have a bot account on Twitter, and you're going to post it on Twitter so that it's there on Twitter. I mean, is that as powerful as Bitcoin? No, but it's different, and maybe hits a different angle. So anyway, excellent questions, everybody. That's all of them. Thank you so much. And let's see here. I'm going to take this off, and then I will hit up all the chat questions. So first up, from like 30 minutes ago, from CG Jig9XR, JG9XR. When can we expect of working Dragonchain platform console that the community can benefit from to use our time and run nodes? That's when this verification network comes out soon. It'll probably run first in testnet, or what would be testnet, where rewards will be different than what they will be in the final. And we might even run it as almost like a long-term cycle, whatever it would be. So we make sure everything functions, that there are no holes that people can attack, things like that. So that'll be, that'll be relatively soon. We already have multiple customers running the new prime node, which is the L1. And we're getting all of the verification nodes. We have a very small verification node network set up right now, and it's not final yet. And we're finishing that up, and then we're going to basically open it up to members, community members, to run it. We might do time-based applications to start, where we take anybody who applies, we take the top however many by time, and then go from there. So build your time while you have time to do it, and make sure you're ready. Anyway, so hopefully that's good. Let's see here from Pepsi, from the Trading Zone 1034. When can we expect some real updates on MA? What is MA? What's MA? I don't know what MA is. I want to answer this. I don't know what MA is. Okay, there was a DenDAO meeting yesterday. Again, make sure World Blockchain Roundtable 5 years, episode 260 is today. Okay. Mike Simpson, 4168. Hi, boss. I was wondering if we could resume our work on a dev console account. Absolutely. If you are who I think you are, though I do not know by your handle on YouTube, ping me again with the DM. I can't remember where we left off. I can't remember if we got that node for you or not, but it is definitely available. And right now, if you have something that you're wanting to build for real, we will give you access to a current node running. And knowing that it is very much development environment. There are some changes even occurring today in the Prime node, but it's good stuff. And when we do have people using it, hit the like button, all of you lazy bums. Thank you very much. Oh boy, okay, this one I'm not. Someone posted on Twitch with a spam. Let's see here. Okay, all right. William agrees. I think what I'm going to assume is he agrees about the potential forking of functionality in Den. I don't know if that's what he agrees with. I didn't see it live. So, future of DAOs. Yes. DAO dead? No, I don't think so. DAOs are, yes, they're in the infancy. And I think there's a lot of issues even with naming and people understanding what they are and trying to associating with some of the DAOs that have been out there that have not had the greatest results. I was, by the way, a member in the very first DAO. And if I remember right, I did lose like $400 or something like that. So it was, but it was still amazing. It was amazing to be in that and to see what happened. And for a little while, the code was actually the law. But then somebody made some phone calls and destroyed our cart of cabbages. Okay, let's see here. AI and DAOs have a lot of future potential. I don't know, maybe more bad things probably, but whatever. And the trading zone says congrats. So if anybody can tell me, let's see here. Couldn't mint either, but oh no. Oh man, Meme Asylum. Vote 100%. I did this I didn't vote 100%, but I voted way over the budget when I first one of the first maybe the second or third cycles, one of the early cycles, I should say. And it was frustrating. I had to go buy a bunch. I had to do a bunch of other stuff to catch back up. And I don't think I think I lost a bit in doing that, right? But then this last one, I just didn't mint. I'd already voted. It was so stupid, so dumb. I would have been so set. I would have been a Meme Asylum whale. But sorry about that. And we hopefully will have the new app up soon, and it actually has a budget bar, so you can tell. It's going to say, hey, you only have this much, so you don't vote over this amount, and you can override it, of course, in that app. But it had one or two issues with some of the new data that was showing, and we had our main dev was out of town at the time, so we rolled it back, and we haven't had time to pick it back up. So let's hope that's soon. Let's hope we get all that done soon. Then let's see here. I think that is the last of all the comments. So now I'm going to say, I swear I clicked that. I did not click that. Oh, by the way, every participant with a unique question will get locked from the Dragonchain layer. Reserve the right to revise and extend my remarks. Okay, so if I messed anything up, apologies. Go to Dragonchain.Store and get some good merch before it is all gone. And make sure you watch us again next week on Super Happy Dragon Lucky, same time. And then watch the 5th anniversary of the World Blockchain Roundtable today at 1100 Eastern, 1500 UTC. 15 minutes. This was a longer show than it was supposed to be. Sorry about that. And follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, Dracaria World, Meme Asylum X, and me, Jojo Rowe, with all zeros on X and Den.Social. So thanks a bunch for all that, and we will see you then.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.